This is ICASTnews.com, live and direct from United Nations headquarters in New York City. And this is Bubbling Under and Bubbling Over, with correspondents on their way to enjoy an August weekend, with the hot weather sending UN diplomats out of town, the stonewalling about stone-cold dead people in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, Haiti. The stonewalling seems to be breaking down. The stonewalling has been going on since 2010. What's at issue here is cholera. Cholera has gone into Haiti with UN Blue Helmet troops, and despite allegations that people are dying, Haiti, this poor little island nation, has been suffering, and the United Nations, which is responsible for the activity, has not been owning up to its place. But suddenly, in the last 2 days, the deputy spokesman for the Secretary General of the United Nations, Farhan Haq, has come out and said, the Secretary General deeply regrets the suffering, and the United Nations has a moral responsibility to the victims. Victims, boys, girls, men and women, kids on cots, have been out in the sun dying of cholera. What's the backstory here? If you go back to 2010, after the earthquake struck and devastated this poor, already long-suffering island country, Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, the UN brought in blue helmets. They brought in soldiers, 454 soldiers from Nepal. The Nepalese soldiers established a base out in the countryside. Nepal is notorious for having cholera, and right after they got here, the Nepalese soldiers did something that infected the water supply in Haiti with cholera. These good men from Nepal, blue helmets, made a bad situation worse. Between 9,200 and 10,000 people have died in Haiti from cholera. That's some 7% of the population. 800,000 people have been affected. Until a couple days ago, the UN refused to take responsibility. Philip Alston, an NYU law professor, has investigated what's gone on. There have long been claims by protesters who've said the UN brought cholera in. Look at this sign that says cholera from the UN. There have been many of these. That's not the right way to spell cholera, but it doesn't matter. Alston has found that there has been UN responsibility, traceable, as medical experts have been saying, since 2011 to the troops from Nepal. Until now, the UN has been mum. A couple of things have come together. First, Professor Alston's report. Second, a lawsuit by victims of the cholera epidemic has been dismissed by the New York Court of Appeals because the UN has sovereign immunity. So now, within the day, Farhan Haq has come out and said, we've been convinced that we need to do more regarding our own involvement in the initial outbreak. That's diplomatic code talk for we're responsible for the outbreak and the suffering of those affected by cholera. What we're doing, in other words, is trying to see if this can be resolved. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is to put at the center of our attention the actual Haitians affected by this outbreak. People were asking for reparations. The SG has dodged this issue for years. He's now saying through his good spokesman that it's their moral responsibility. Nepal brought this disease here. But who else is responsible for all these children who are being treated out in the open because that was the only place after hospitals collapsed? There was a special UN mission to Haiti. It was headed up by President Bill Clinton. The Clinton Foundation has itself spent a lot of money bringing aid to Haiti. But neither President Clinton in his UN capacity or in his capacity as head of the Clinton Foundation has fessed up to the UN's responsibility for bringing this horrible disease that killed so many, cholera in Haiti. And now, finally, the stonewalling about the stone dead people, some 10,000 of them, and 800,000 other people. Finally, the UN is beginning to do that hardest of things, tell the truth, and say, we're responsible and we made a big mistake. That's bubbling over all over the UN towards the end of August. For ICASTnews.com, live and direct from United Nations headquarters in New York City. For Bubbling Under and Bubbling Over, I'm Jonathan Sanders.